Hey, everyone, it is Miss Flo, and you are watching and listening to Go with the Flow, a podcast where I'm free to talk about whatever I want because it's my show. As an educator, photographer, and fan, this is a space where I'm free to express my opinion. And because of this stream now available to you, I want to give you guys the opportunity to share yours. This is just my way of really connecting with my audience and really engage in a conversation where it's not just me and my guests, but it's also you. So if you are watching this stream, make sure that you share it and really join me in this conversation. Now, if you've been paying attention on my social media at Noir Vibes DC on all platforms, then you would know what today's topic is about. If you can guess from my cosplay, giving you guys a bit of a twirl, 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 twirl. We're going to talk about Velma. And it's something that we so desperately need to talk about. If you guys know me personally or just pay attention to my social media, you would know that Velma is one of my favorite characters from the iconic Scooby-Doo. And I was really excited when I heard that she's getting her own series. Even this past Awesome Con, I was ready. At this past Awesome Con, I was ready. I was serving Velma realness. A lot of people were asking me, where's your gang? Where's the rest of the Scooby-Doo gang? And I was so eager to tell them, like, no, she's getting her own series. She's going solo. And that's what I was truly representing. And by the way, I was not expecting this outfit to attract as much attention as it did, but I really pulled this off. And this is from like I could kind of consider myself an inexperienced cosplayer, but nonetheless, I digress. I am a huge fan of Velma, and I believe out of everyone in that series that could really carry her own show, it should be Velma. So I was excited to hear about her getting her own show, but if you guys had a chance to watch it on HBO Max, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not gonna like just sit here and completely rag on the show because there are some things that I liked about it, and I think it had a very, very, very strong idea, but it just missed the mark on several things. And we're going to take this episode to really dive into the problems of Velma. So, quick quick notice, there will be spoilers in this episode. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, I would suggest just hold off. You can catch this episode because I do post on my YouTube channel on Noir Vibes DC, and of course, it will be an audio version available on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart, Apple Podcasts. There are some more. It's a long list, but I'm on there thanks to Anchor. All right. But I really wanted to take this episode to just kind of break things down because, like I said, having Velma from Scooby Doo, like having her own show, one, let's be real, she is the most important character of the Scooby Doo gang. No hate towards, Scooby Doo, the lovable talking dog. But she's the one with the tech and the detective skills and really helps piece everything together. And if you've been a fan of the franchise as long as I have, you've seen that when they did the live action Scooby-Doo, is it almost like a decade ago? Or even, Oh my God, I think it might be longer. It can't be 20 years old. The live action. I don't think so. Ugh, I'm really feeling my age now. But if you watch the live action Scooby-Doo, then they talked about like how Velma never really got the credit that she deserves for solving the cases, and Freddy was the main one, taking the credit. So I was hoping it would kind of be a continuation of that, but here's the premise of the show. So you have Velma, who is stuck with two mysteries on her plate. One, you have a serial killer that is killing these beautiful, popular teenage girls and scooping out their brains. And of course, the mystery, well, not of course, because we never really dug into Velma's, personal life on Scooby-Doo, but she has to find out what happened to her mom because she disappeared some years ago. And somehow all of this intertwines, right? So I would say the main thing that kept me invested in the series was the mystery itself, but it was kind of hard to get through, to be honest. Let me first off say, like, I love Mindy. I love the Mindy Project. I'm a fan of hers, but it definitely felt that she was really trying too hard to be woke. Now, let me just say this real quick. Let me start with the positives of like what I liked about the show. I like that they made Velma Indian. I had no issues with that. They made Daphne Asian. Cool. I'm fine with that. They made Shaggy or Norville black, which I was confused about. It's like if you're gonna go as far as make um Shaggy's character black, why not just name him Shaggy? But they called him Norville on the show, and it feels like she was like really trying to push the envelope, but she kind of reeled it back some because it's obvious that the character Norville is Shaggy. Because if you look at his dad, and Norville is like he's biracial, so he has a black mother who's the principal of the school, and his father is white, who's the counselor, but looks very much like our iconic Shaggy. So I don't know why. I don't know if that's gonna be his nickname later on. I'm not sure, but I'm just like I felt like that was an odd compromise, and I feel like Mindy only did that because she was afraid of the racist backlash that she made. I mean, you made Velma Indian, you have Daphne Asian, you have like you're gonna get that regardless. So I don't know why she didn't just name the character Shaggy, but we have Norville, right? Um, so I was okay with the diversity. I'm okay with Velma being gay. If you've been a fan of the show, Velma has been clocked as the queer coded character for some time, and in a more recent animated movie, Trick or Treat Scooby Doo, they confirmed that Velma's gay, and she, like had a crush with the so-called one of the characters. Or well, I'm gonna let you guys watch that. That probably I watched it recently and it was very good. So it was Trick or Treat, Scooby Doo, which is also on HBO Max. Solid palette cleanser from the Velma series, by the way. But made her gay. Like I was cool with all of that. It just the writing was it just wasn't funny. I feel we felt where the jokes were supposed to be, but it just didn't work. It just didn't land it. Like I said, like I think the premise of the show had a lot of promise, but it just felt flat in some areas. Now, the other issue with the show, I just didn't really like what they did with Freddy. Freddy is known to be the leader of the Scooby-Doo gang, very in charge, up front, willing to save the day. But they made him have this condition where he hasn't hit puberty yet, and he's very whiny, childish. Starts off sexist, but I mean, okay, the sexist part, again, we kind of established that with the live action played by Freddie Prinze Jr. Great job. Again, I would say this. I think what Mindy was trying to do with this show was trying to kind of point out a lot of the foibles, um, uh, you know, um, a lot of the issues that the characters had based on a long history of this franchise. But it just wasn't, it was just a miss. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why Freddie had to be prepubescent or, this whiny character. It was just you can make him sexist. That's like, okay, we can understand. Like, he wants to like take charge and maybe not adhere what everybody else in his circle wants to do. Um, I just think, it was a bit much. Uh, and it's the same thing with Norville's character. Shaggy is the lovable, I don't want to say stoner, because they try to make it clear, like, oh, he doesn't smoke, because everybody knows anybody that's a fan of Shaggy are just like automatic stoners. They try to be way too obvious to steer clear of that. But we know Shaggy, he's this lovable hippie that loves his dog, who has this insatiable appetite, um, but is, you know, a huge scaredy cat. Um, the direction they did with Norville, they kind of made him like a people pleaser and basically a simp. Like, they had Norville in the beginning to have this huge crush on Velma, and I was already like, because I know, like, in the fan base, some people, paired Velma and Shaggy together, but I wasn't really for it, to be honest. I feel like because, like, they were boy and girl in the group, Freddie and Daphne had this romantic relationship, so they automatically kind of like put those two together, but mm, I personally never, saw that working. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong, like Shaggy, they also made Norville a bit more uptight. That was the other thing. It was just like he was, a huge part of the school paper, very serious and very like organized and wanted to be a counselor and things like that. So it's complete 180 from Shaggy. Um, Daphne's story, I don't understand why she was dealing drugs. I don't know why she was a drug dealer. I don't see it, like, I like the fact that they made her more of a fighter. Like, she's not, we already established we don't want her to be a damsel in distress anymore. Uh, Sarah Michelle Gellar already kind of like broke that trope in the live action, but I don't, like, her parents are cops, lesbian cops, married lesbian cops. So I didn't understand like really making her a drug dealer. I think that was completely unnecessary and very weird. Uh, and then what they did with Velma. Okay, so what I really liked about her story was that, okay, she really wants to solve the mystery of the disappearance of her mother, but something mentally is like preventing her from doing that. Um, I think it was like some form of anxiety or panic attacks that were lethal, that could potentially kill her, and then kind of like killed her twice, maybe. I think I lost count. No, it was two. I think it was two. Um, but kind of really preventing her from trying to solve this mystery. So like I appreciated that obstacle. Um, but I didn't like that they made Velma such a terrible person. Like it is just I just didn't really like that at all. Um that really bothered me because Velma's always been the team player, always been there for her friends, and just to see her just completely ignoring them or using them for her own means, it was ew. Like I generally didn't. I just didn't like the direction of Velma's character, and like you could say this was like okay, the way they set it up, because this isn't what I had in mind when they first announced that Velma was gonna have her solo. Like I'm thinking this will be after the Scooby-Doo gang. They had it before, and we're kind of seeing the formation of the team here, and I think that's kind of set up for failure, to be honest. Um, because then it won't just be about Velma anymore, it will be about the Scooby-Doo gang. And if this had opportunity to run a few seasons, I just don't think that this would really stick. In my personal opinion, I think that this should have happened after Scooby-Doo, similar to what they did with the live action. It's like Velma is tired of being um, hidden in the shadows and not getting the credit that she deserves, and she goes and do solo detective work to prove that, you know, she's a boss detective and that she's capable of doing her own. Like she's the one that's been solving all the mysteries, not Freddy. So yeah, it was just. And here's the thing, I was very confused. And this is also this other thing that was bothering me is like there was an opportunity to create Scooby Doo because now stay with me if you haven't watched it, but basically the serial killer was trying to transfer a person's brain into another body, but it's based on these government experiments for to be spies so that you can put a brain in like a different person or an animal. They said that. So I'm thinking that we would get Scooby Doo as a result from one of those experiments, but we didn't. The season ended with just like, okay, we solved the mystery. The gang gets acknowledgement from the town for solving this mystery, but they like it became so muddled that they don't even really like each other at this point. So it's just like, is that her way of putting off the formation of the gang and having another season of Velma being solo? It, I wasn't satisfied with the ending, so to speak. I will refrain from naming the killer. If you still want to watch it and kind of see like the mystery unfold, I will allow you to do so. But I was highly disappointed. I have seen the ratings for this show. Rotten Tomato gave it 40%. I forgot what I saw, like 1.4 stars. Like, okay, let me just put it this way. If I had to Thanos snap this series, Like just make it disappear, erase from our minds, like it never happened. This is how I would write it. As I was saying before, I would have Velma's adventures happen after the Scooby-Doo gang. We know that they were teenagers when all of this was happening, so like she's in college, almost similar to Veronica Mars a little bit type vibe. She's solving like real murders. We're not doing those white collar cases anymore, and like it's like real serious crimes. And she's a consultant for the local police department. Um, some of her friends, come into the picture here and there, like needing her assistance, maybe in the hopes to kind of make peace, but Velma being very adamant, like she wants to be solo, like she's willing to help her friends and, rebuild the bridge, but doesn't want to be part of the gang anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I think that would have been a much better direction because, like, I would be shocked if this got renewed for season two because it's not getting positive press whatsoever. It's just not. Oh my God, like I'm just highly disappointed because like growing up, like I have read the Scooby-Doo books when I was younger. I have watched majority of the spin-offs, even when you had like Scrappy-Doo, when they were like little kids, the live actions, and just seeing what had the potential to be a great mystery show and putting Velma in the same category of like Veronica Mars, Nancy Drew, um, Sherlock Holmes, Monk, and a plethora of other great crime solvers um, in the, you know, fiction, mystery fiction category. Like, it was just disappointing um, the direction of this show went. Um, I'm just really heartbroken, to be honest, because like I'm not even sure if I could. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna still cosplay as Velma at Awesome Con solely because, first of all, I just pull it off so well. Like you see, like this is just a stunning look. This is just it's giving. I am Velma. Okay, so let's just keep it a buck there. So I will keep cosplaying as Velma, and I will be happy to have conversations with people in person about the show and where I stand with it. But I, if they do have a season two, I don't know if I could. I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably watch it to see if it gets better or just see like where it goes. But like, I don't think this should be renewed, and I think it would be unfair to renew it after HBO has canceled a lot of other good shows. That's just real tea. Again, I still love Mindy. I love her work in other things, but I don't think she was ready to touch Scooby-Doo. It's a beloved franchise that has stand the test of time. Like what, since the late 60s, early 70s to like today, like several generations of fans love the show. And it's almost at the same level of The Simpsons. It's like if you're going to reinvent the wheel, make it good. And it wasn't good. It fell flat. It is tired. Like again, a lot of other missed opportunities because even look at like the tagline. It's meddling season. That's more like the Scooby-Doo gang type thing, you know? Like why wasn't this like Jinkies? It's a season. You know what I mean? Something more related to something that Velma would actually say, or something to her own catchphrase. I mean, there's some good elements to it. I do appreciate um the level of diversity that she, try to bring in, and try to refresh some of the characters. I just think that it just a lot of the direction that it went in terms of like the characters' personalities and some of their actions, I don't agree with whatsoever. It's just a no for me. But I do have some good news. I didn't want this episode to just me ragging on a show. I do want to highlight another show that I have recently watched or start watching. I don't know if I saw the last episode. I think it's still maybe going on. But we can highlight another young, bright, genius girl, and I'm talking about Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Now, I have actually liked this series. I only read two, two, not something over. Sorry. I've only read two of the comic books, and I may be reading more, but I was very excited. If you can see here, my two issues. Um, I really like the idea of a young, smart, like super genius black girl having a pet dinosaur. Don't ask me why. It's a part representation, part I would have loved reading more of this when I was younger. I'm gonna see if I could get a couple more issues. I stopped prematurely on issue two, but like it is really good if you got a chance to read it. Go ahead and do so. Visit your local comic book shop, Phantom Comics, Third Eye Comics, wherever you get your comics. But it's definitely worth checking out. I really um love the comic book. I love the character Luna. She's just I just appreciate like just young black geniuses. And in the comics, I think they put her above Tony, above Hulk, well Bruce Banner in terms of level of intelligence. And my God, I think I got into the comics like maybe in the midst of the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, and where we as a community were just dealing with a lot of secondhand trauma and what we were seeing in the media, and to really get to know this character and her story really helped me. It really helped like uplift my spirits because like I'm a huge advocate of representation of us, like our skin tone, to be seen in a more positive light, and in hopes that that would help improve our image and not always be seen as the bad guy or criminals or low lives, because like that's how a lot of America views black people, and just to have like a positive role model in the comic books and really be a young hero um is something that really inspired me. Whew, getting a little emotional. But if you haven't had a chance to check this out, it is available on Disney Plus if you have the subscription. And I binged watched it, and I'm like, it is so good. Like they made it, there's a lot of it that's like very Disney, but I don't really mind. Like the animation, the colors are absolutely stunning. If you are a fan of the Spider-Verse and with, what they did with Miles Morales, like it's that level of color, the soundtrack, like I will be looking out for the soundtrack for this series because the music is so good. Like they use Childish Gambino. I believe who's that guy from 2020 Tone? Raphael. I believe he worked on the music for the series. Like the opening theme song alone, I have to look it up to see if Lizzo produced it because that's the sound it gives me. It gives me that Lizzo sound where you just feel so much joy from the start. Like usually like I'll end up like skipping the intro to to a series just to dive into it to like help me binge, but like I don't skip it. Like I will listen to it every time it comes on. It is such an infectious theme song. It is so good. But let me get into like what the series is about. So you have Luna, and she is I believe they made her 13 in the series. Uh, genius whose family owns a roller rink in the city. It's in New York. It's in New York. She her well, the first episode her neighborhood is dealing with like a series of blackouts, and now they're dealing with issues of crime and just low business because nobody wants to go into the city with no lights, fear of danger, and they can't really roller skate in the dark. So it's really affecting her family business. um in her heart, like even though she's like 13, she wants to really help her family and her community and help resolve the issue and try to come up with an alternative energy source to help combat the blackouts. Even before like we know her like full ability, she's already just willing to help, you know? Um, but in the attempts to provide an alternative energy source, she opens up a portal. I believe it makes a rip in the space-time continuum. I think I may have gotten that part a little wrong, but you could watch the first episode. But it's kind of like that, and that's when we see Big Red, our devil dinosaur, step through the portal. Terrifying at first, but they instantly like just fall in love with each other. Like she like knows how to she instantly just connects with the devil dinosaur. I don't but that's part of like her power that in the comic books, but they haven't really dived, too far into that in the series. But like she knows like, okay, I can how to control him while feeding hot dogs and things like that. Um and by the way, did I mention that she has like a whole lab like under her place, under her home, like in like an old abandoned subway line, very Ninja Turtle. Love that. But then she has her own lab, and that's where she opened up the portal and the Devil Dinosaur came in. Instantly fall in love. It's like they even made the reference to, is it Clover the Big Red Dog? Because like the Devil Dinosaur is just like a giant puppy. They just instantly love each other so much, and then she's just like, well, she finally finds what's causing the blackouts, and it's this villain. Oh my God, I cannot remember the villain's name, but she's just siphoning off the power in the neighborhood, she combats it. But it's just like a really fun series. Like I said, they added that Disney flavor where it's like, oh my God, the fate of the world all depends on me winning this science fair project. Like that level of Disney, but oh my God, it is just so fun for all ages. I'm gonna stay tuned and watching it. Like the music, the soundtrack, the fight scenes are outstanding, and the way they use the color to really emote and it's pretty like star packed. Like let me just quickly look up who they have on there. Like Lawrence Fishburne. Um, guest starred on it. Like, you're pulling that level of heat, man. Like, that is insane. Hold on, because like, and I think Jennifer Hudson did an episode as well. So, because, and I'm like, you can already tell where I'm going with this, and I just looked at the rating. Like, it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's like 7.7 on IBD, sorry, IMDb. That's insane. That is insane. So you should definitely watch this for Black History Month. Let me see. Like, there's a lot of people on here. Ooh, they do. That's right. They do have Alfre Woodard as a grandmother. I know I pronounced her name wrong. I am so sorry. But you've seen her in like a ton of things. Um, they have Gary Anthony Williams. You may know him as Uncle Ruckus on Boondocks. Wesley Snipes gonna voice something in here. Method Man. Greg Robinson. Ooh. Like, there are a lot of names, like recognizable names, that are in the cast. And my God, like, y'all really, really need to get into this series. I highly recommend. Again, they already have like several episodes on Disney Plus, and hopefully up to see more because I do want. And the comic books, they definitely have Miss Marvel and the new Hulk um be in the series, so I'm hoping to see them eventually pop in to Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Um, yeah, it's just like a really it's a really good series. Like, I'm already in love with it. It makes me want to like even I need to continue the series in the comic books. I fell off a bit, but it's like it really wants me it has me wanting to get back into it just to see how else they kind of separate the comic books and the animated series. Um, but like I said, it's definitely worth examining for sure. And like I said, if you're disappointed with Velma like I am, this was a real pick me up, you know? So that's all that I have for tonight. And I thank you guys for watching and listening. I really do appreciate my audience for really being there for me. And make sure that you stay tuned to everything that's coming up. Make sure you tune in on my all my social media. It's all the same. Noir Vibes DC. That's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Easy lookup. Make sure that you follow so you can get those updates. I know that I was gone last week. I was on a school field trip, but I'm going to make sure that I'm in a steady routine to stream every Friday. And if you missed the stream, that's okay because I'm going to post to my YouTube channel. Again, Noir Vibes DC. And it's going to be available on my podcast, that's strictly audio, on all available platforms. And remember, you can't go wrong when you go with the flow. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye!